Hi, welcome to this live stream. We are starting the week with a little bit of news right now because we have a new function in the editor, and we are going to continue with the tutorial on our application that we are building in Apphive, and I'm going to show you how this new function is going to help you a lot building applications. Right? Please, if there is someone in the chat and there is some problem like you don't see my screen, you don't hear me right or something, please let me know because it's very important for me to know if everything is correct in your part, because here in my screen everything looks fine. So let's get started. Remember, we are building an application. The last week we start building it in Apphive. And it's an application to rent cars, automobiles, vehicles. And the idea with this application is that the owner of the application is someone who owns a lot of cars and wants to rent them. So in order to do that, let's share my screen. Give me a moment, please. I'm sharing the screen right now. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm not sharing the correct one. Sorry. I'm going to try again. There you go. And let's search for the project that should be here. Booking cars. I believe is this one because we have the version in Spanish and the version in English. This is the admin. This is the version in Spanish. And this is the version in English in which I have the customer, right? If you remember correctly, if I run this application, by the way, everything that I am going to show right now is something that we already built when we were working on this in the previous live stream. So if you didn't see it and you want to know how I did it, please check out the previous video. Okay, so now let's do a refresher. What do we have here? We have a splash screen. I don't know why do I have a button here. I'm going to remove it because it's not really needed, because the real purpose of this page, which has the star, which means this is the first page on the application, has the job of checking if the user is already logged in or if the user is not logged in. Why? Because if the user is not logged in, I want to prompt him or her. I want to prompt they to enter their credentials. Okay, so here we have the function is logged in, and this function has two callbacks. Remember, each one of these is going to replace the page for the one that I need to have in my screen. In this case, is the welcome page, the authentication page in which the user can put the credentials. We are using Google login, and the other one is the load available cars, in which the user is going to load from Firebase the available cars that are right now for rent, and I'm going to show them in a list right here. So let's run it again. Here I have my home page. Why? Because I already logged in this application. If I want to log out, I need to put that functionality on the page. In order to do that, let's add a button at the top of the application. Maybe right here. Let's make it a little bit smaller, and let's put an icon on this button. To do that, let's open the data tab, and here let's check to enable the icon, and let's select the icon. Maybe this one, the exit icon, and let's double click on this and backspace to remove everything that is not the icon. There you go. And now in my application, I have here the icon. If I hit refresh, we can see again the cars that are available. And if I click right here, I need to put the logic in order to log out from my account. So let's do that. First, let's add the onPress event. And inside the onPress event, let's add the logout function. And after the logout function, let's add the unsuccessful logout. Let's return to the splash screen. Remember, the splash screen has the job to check out if I am or not, if I am logged in or not. And after that, it redirects me to the correct page. So let's do that. Replace top page. And in the replace top page, let's put the splash screen. Let's return here and let's refresh. in order to test it. Okay, we are at the home page. Let's click on this one. There you go. We return to the welcome page. Why? Because we were on the splash screen, and the splash screen redirect us to this page. And if I click on here, I can log in again. Let's log in with Google. There you go, and I am back at the home page. Now, the cars that are shown right here are the ones that are in a collection here in my database. If I open my database here, you can see here the cars available collection, in which we have 2 cars that I add manually. In other tutorials, or maybe in this one, if we have the time, we are going to add logic to change which cars are in this list depending on the schedule that they have in the rents. Okay, so for now, let's leave it like that. We have 2 cars, and the client should be able to select one of them, right? And the other thing that we didn't do, okay, we didn't do the click button to check the vehicle, and after that, after you check the vehicle, you can book on schedule to rent the car. So let's do that. Okay, we have the price, we have the name, and we have the brand of the car. So now let's put the logic to click on the page, on the car, sorry, and open a new page. So let's add the new page. The new page is going to be, let's put a black, an empty page, sorry. There you go. And inside this page, let's add the information from a specific car. Remember, I'm going to be clicking on the car in the list. And after that, I'm going to load the information of this car in particular. For now, the information of this car is exactly the same that I have in the list, but we need to think what other information we could show the client in the details page. For example, we can show him the calendar or the days that the car is not going to be available. Okay, that's something for the future. For now, let's put this page and change the name of it to reflect what this page is all about. And this page is all about loading the information on a specific car. So let's do that. Okay, instead of putting available car, let's put car details loader. Okay, this is going to be the page that loads the information of the car from the Firebase, from the real-time database, and after that, it redirects us to the page that shows the information. Okay, this pattern is going to be repeated a lot. For example, we already did that with the page that shows the list of the cars. We didn't put the cars right here. We put a page that loads the cars from the database. It's right here in the onload part. And after the cars are in the device, we redirect the application to the page that actually shows the cars. Why we should be doing that? The reason is very simple. We put a little bit less jobs in each page. The less jobs each page have, the better, because they are going to be a lot easier to debug. So let's continue now. Let's add an onload event right here, and let's get a database get. The database data. Now, there is another thing that we should take into account. Here, this collection matches this page right here, the list of cars. But we need another collection in which we are going to match the details of each vehicle. Why? Because remember, we are using Firebase, which is a non-SQL database. So the collections or the information in our database should match. For the most part, is not always the case, but almost always. You need to match the information that you have in the database with the UI elements that are going to show it. In this case, the UI elements are pages. Okay, so let's continue here. Cars details. There you go. And now in cars available, we have the values of each one of the cars, including the ID. In this one, the ID is going to match the ID on this one. Yeah? And for now, I know it doesn't make a lot of sense because it has exactly the same information for now. but we are going to be adding a lot more information in the future. So let's go back here to car details, and let's copy all of the fields that we have in cars available. Remember, copying is going to be a recurrent theme when we are building non-SQL or non-relational database. Sorry. Why is going to be a recurrent theme? Because repetition or redundancy, it's a common practice when you are building non-relational databases. Is the way to actually show the information without doing a lot of complex querying. Because, for example, when you are using a relational database, you have your information only once, and you construct the information that you want on your view using queries or joins, if you know what I mean. If you don't worry about it. It's going to be a little bit different when we are working when we worked with SQL database, which we are going to do in future tutorials. Okay, so now I need all this information right here. In order to do that, let's just export the information. It downloads it as a JSON. So now let's go to this one and hit import and select the information. I know you are not watching my picker of files, but I am choosing the file that was downloaded from Apphive a moment ago. And let's open it. And there you go. I have the same information right here and right here. The repetition is going to make sense once I start adding more information to my car. Okay. So for now, this is all the information I need. And let's return to the car details loader. And here, let's choose the correct collection. Now we need the ID of the car in order for the query to know which car we are referring to. So in order to do that, let's add a property here in the tab of data in the page, and the property is going to be called car ID. Okay, and with this ID we can go back here and build the collection query by adding here the identifier of the car. In this section, you can choose page data, and inside page data, you can see car ID. And with that, we give Firebase the path to exactly what information we need: the car details, car ID. Okay, now let's go to the callback that says the data obtained, and let's put a debug log here in order for us to check if the car details are actually there. Okay, now what we need to do is return to our list, and here in the add collection, remember here we are creating the list of cars that is shown to the user at the end when the application is running. So we have to go here and to this section right here and select all the container that represents the item, and let's add an event on press event. Why? Because with that we can click on the item. You can see that here, and if we can click on the item, when we click on it, let's replace the page, and let's select the car details loader, and it's going to ask me for the car ID. The car ID is the item ID from my list here. If you check this one, you can see list item ID. And now, if I return here and refresh the page, let's open our console, because remember, I put a debug log. Give me a moment. Let's press F12 in our keyboard to open it. Sorry. There you go. Okay, I have my console right here. And if I press this one, you can see it gives me the page that is loading the information of the car. And here, with the debug log function, I can see all the information of this specific car that is pulled from the Firebase database. Okay, that's very important, and actually that is the correct way to do it. Let's add something here in order to indicate to hint to the user that we are loading the information. So a new image, double click on it, and if I go to the Lotis section, you can see the Loti here that we already add from the past video. So let's select it. Let's select it, and let's refresh the page in order to check out if everything is working correctly. Click on this, And there you go. We can see that the splash screen is right there. And after that, let's add a new page in which we are going to put all the details from the car. So let's add an empty page, sorry. Let's change the background again, and let's add the information from the car. Which information we have? Okay, let's see. Click on the click on each one of this, and we have a color, we have a brand, we have an image URL. So let's add first the image URL, right? So let's put here a container, or three containers, sorry, because we need a header, a body, and a footer. And the header is going to be 10% of the total height of my page. So let's do that. Remember, we already showed you how to do that, but I'm going to do I'm going to do it a little bit more quickly. If you are here in the chat and you don't know how to do it, please ask me, or you can watch this video a little bit slower. Okay, so now let's put the body. The body is going to be 80% of the total height of the page, and the footer, it's going to be 10%. And there you go. We have three sections on our page. In this section here at the top, let's add a title so we know where we are. There you go, a text, double click on it, and let's put here car details. Okay, let's change the size of the font so it's easier to read, and let's put it on bold, and let's change the width so the text is centered on the middle of the header. Okay, so now let's decide where to put the image of the car. So I want the image actually to be on the left, as a rounded image. So in order to do that, let's add a new container. Let's change the width of the container, maybe something like that. And let's divide the container in two by clicking here on the data section. And let's change the anchor almost like that. Okay. And let's add the image here. Okay. Now let's change the dimensions of this one. If I press these buttons right here, it puts automatically in 100 and 100%. Now let's change the border radius, which is right here. Let's put 100. There you go. And now we have a rounded image to put the image from our car. Now remember, the property is called brand image URL. It's not spelled correctly. It should be brand, not band, but okay, doesn't matter right now. Let's put here image brand image URL. Now we are naming the control. Why we need to name it? Because we need to refer it in other parts of our code. So it's very useful for us to put it a name that is mnemonic, that shows us what this control does. Okay. Now we need to put the variable in this page that is this URL. So in order to do that, let's click outside of the page. So the complete page is selected, and let's put here the first variable. Okay, now let's return to the page that loads the information from our car, and let's go to the debug log that we put right here. And instead of the debug log, let's put a replace top page, and the replace top page is going to load the page that is called, okay, we didn't put the name on this one. Let's put car details. There you go. And now let's select it here, and you can see the variable that we create a moment ago here. And let's put the value from the database. There you go. And now here, sorry, in this same page that we already created, let's put an onload event so we can modify all of our controls. So let's put here a modify control. This modify control will send the value that we pass to this page, which is called brand image URL, and it's going to set it in the source value on the image that we have here. Now you can see here is the name that we set in the control that is our image. So it is easier for us to identify it. What happens when we have 10, 5 images? If we didn't put the name that reflects what each one of these does, it's going to be a lot more difficult for us to know which one it is. So let's put here the source, and let's put this one a little bit less. There you go. So there is a space right here, and let's check if this actually works. So refresh the page, click on this one, and there you go. But you can see that the brand logo is the one that we are showing right here. We don't want the brand logo here. We need the brand logo, yes, but we don't need it here. We are going to put it somewhere else. So let's for now put it here, and let's change the size almost like that. And let's refresh again and click on it. Okay, you can see it's put in the correct image URL. Let's add another one, another image, and let's put it right here. And let's repeat the same, click and click. So it's 100 and 100. And let's add again our debug log. Why? Because I need to know the properties from each object when they are loaded from the database. So let's put this one here. And let's drag and drop it to put it above the first one. So now if I go here and refresh and click on it, you can see we have the image here, and it print us the values from our car. And here we are going to load the image URL. So let's go back here, click on this one, let's put it rounded. So 100 here, there you go. And let's change the name again, image. There you go. Let's go to the page by clicking outside, like here. Let's go to the functions, and let's add another modify control by copying the first one. And let's add the other variable, which is called image URL, to the page. Let's return here, and instead of sending the brand URL, let's add the image URL. And here, instead of using the image brand URL, let's add image URL image, this one. And now let's put the source right here, and let's check it out. F5 or refresh, click on it, and it didn't work. Why? Because I didn't put the value here in my replace top page. If you expand this one, you can see here the image URL is empty. So let's go here, let's put this one, and let's put the name of the variable. Okay, there you go. Let's refresh this page. And you can see now, if I click on it, you can get the image of each individual car. Okay. Now let's add the mechanism for the user to return to the list of pages. So here in the top left corner, there you go. Let's put a button. Okay, this one is going to be shown below because the header is not divided correctly. So let's remove the button for now, and let's click on this one and go to data. And in data, let's add 3 sections. Okay, maybe just 2, and put this text in the second section, and let's make this section a little bit smaller, like almost like that, right? And here let's add the button. So let's put the button right here. Let's change the dimensions to 100 and 100. And give me a moment, 100. There you go. Let's remove the text by double clicking on it and backspace. And now let's add here the icon. And in order to do that, let's put here has an icon, and here let's put the back icon. Now this way of doing the button is not exactly the best one. Why? Because the button is not centered. In order to change that, let's remove the button and instead add a container. And this container right here, let's put values here of 100 and 100%. There you go. And inside of this, let's add yet another container, and this one is going to be 80% to 80%. So it is centered. And let's change the color of this one to something that looks more clickable, like that. And let's add a border of 10, for example. There you go. And now inside of here, let's add an icon, this one. And the icon, let's go to the data section and select the icon back, like that. Let's change the text of the text color of the icon, so we have something that looks better, There you go. And now let's add an on-press button, an on-press event, sorry. And in this one, let's add a debug log to confirm everything is working. Now let's return to this one and refresh the application. There you go. If you click on one car, you can see you can press this button and you get a confirmation that you are pressing the button. But now we need to return to our available cars. But check this out. If I go right here and put a replace top page and just replace it for the cars available cars like that, there is going to be a problem. Let's check it out. If I click on this one and go back, you can see there are no cars right here. Why? Because this page didn't load the cars. I need to go to this one in order to load them. So if I click on this one and I put here car details loader, no, sorry, car details is not the correct one. Load available cars and return right here and refresh the page. Click on this one and return. Click on this one and return. You can see now the page loads first the cars and then shows me the details on each one of the cars. That is exactly what I want. Okay. Now let's do another part. Give me a moment. Okay. And now let's load the rest of the information from each car. For example, the name of the car that you can see right here. So in order to do that, let's add the property here to the page. Remember, click on this part of the screen, name, let's add it. And here, when the database returns the values, let's add the name from the database, like so. There you go. And here, sorry, and here, let's decide where to put the name. No, I don't know if I want to keep this one here, but for now, let's keep it outside of this one, just so I didn't decide yet where to put this logo, but the text that has the name is going to definitely go in here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's change the color and let's add something different. For example, you can adjust the height so it's a little bit more centered, but you can also click on this one, auto height auto, sorry, and this one is going to adjust the height in based on the text, on the font size of the title, right, of the text, sorry. So now let's change the name again, the same as in the images. Let's put name text, sorry, text name, like that. And here in the onload, let's copy the modify control, and instead of putting the image URL, let's put the page data and name. There you go. And here, instead of selecting the image URL, let's select the where it is. Text name. Yeah, it's exactly that. Let's go back here and here. Okay, text name. There you go. I didn't see it the first time. And let's put the property text and let's check it out. And now you can see when I click on this one, you will see the name of the car. There you go. And with that, we can continue. Now let's add the price. Okay. And the price comes from the database as well. It's right here. Price per day. Remember, we are renting the cars per day. And we can't rent a car for an hour or something like that. So now that we have price per day, let's return right here. And let's add the property. The property is going to be called exactly the same, price per day. Let's copy it. Okay, let's put it right here. Price per day. And let's return here to our loader and let's put here the price per day data, like so. Okay, now if I return to my page, let's decide where to put the price. So I'm going to put it exactly below the name of the car. Let's change the color again to something a little bit more. There you go. something like that. Let's make it underline, and let's change the alignment here, like this, like so. Now I'm going to show you now is the time when I show you the new function that we have in Apphive. It's a very awesome function that is going to allow you, the developer that works in Apphive, to do some incredible things. For example, in this case it's something simple, but it's going to be a lot simpler now. We need to make an interpolation of text. For example, when we load the information from the car, you can see that the price is shown like this, 100. But if I go to the list, I didn't have to refresh it. I could just press the back button. You can see it shows us like this, 100 US dollars per day. So I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'm going to do it in a different way. If I go to the list generation right here, modify elements on the collection, and I click on this one, and I go to the property text, you can see I use what we call a compute function, in which I put a string interpolation like so. And after the string interpolation, I put a variable that contains the price of the vehicle. And after this is returned, I return it as a compute callback. I don't have to do that anymore. Why? Because, sorry, because now I can do this. Let's add a new function that is named code compute. There you go. And I can put arguments right here. The arguments that I'm going to be putting right here on page data. And let's put the price per day. I already copy the same part that I put in my interpolation function, but instead of doing an interpolation like that, let's do it like we are coding in JavaScript, because this, after all, is JavaScript code. The code that I write here is going to be executed by this function, and the return value that I have here is going to be returned. So let's put return. Let's put the quotes that are used for to interpolate values, and let's remove this one. It's not going to be necessary. And if I put here args, the args value that I have here refers the value that I pass here to the function. And now there you go. That's all you have to do. And after you have this code compute, you can use the value here. Let's put here interpolated price. There you go. And now let's add another modify control, and let's pass this interpolated price right here. And instead of using the text name, let's change the name to our control that will show the price. Let's put text price. Let's click again here to select the page. Let's go to the functions, and let's put here the text price, like so, and the text value. Let's check it out if it works correctly. Remember, let's refresh the page. Let's click on this one, and you can see right here that the function works as expected. Now we don't have to use the compute directly. We can use code functions in order for us to create these functions, right? There you go. Now, what is going to be the next step is to add a button to book to rent the car, right? So in order to do that, I actually going to remove the brand part of the car. Is not going to be needed. So let's remove it from here as well. There you go. And in my function, let's remove the function that creates the brand, like so. There you go. If I return here and click on it, I can see the car. Now let's add a new button right here. And this button is going to be schedule a rent, right? And here I'm going to be adding the action that is going to allow me to rent a car. And let's add a calendar right here. So we have some place to choose in which part of the week I'm going to be renting the car. So now let's add something else, because I don't know why, but this button is shown above the calendar. That shouldn't happen. That's a bug, but for now, let's add a container, and let's add the calendar inside this container, like so. Let's return right here. Let's go back here, and it's still inside there. Okay, that is going to be solved by us before we go to the next tutorial. But the idea is like this: we need to put a calendar in which we are going to show the values that we can put to rent the car. Okay, there you go. Okay, we are going to leave it on that. Please let me know if you have any doubts about it. Remember, now Apphive has a function in which you can put your JavaScript code directly, and it's going to be executed in this function, and the value is going to be returned, so you can use it. Why? Because we at Apphive, we recognize that code it's actually the easier way to represent logic in your applications, and we are trying to design a function that actually lets you use JavaScript without the risks that you will have if you have all the liberties by using any function inside of it. It has a lot of restrictions, by the way. There is a restriction on how many characters you can have in the function, and there is a restriction, sorry, on what you can access inside the function, and there are going to be another ones. So that is why it's called a beta function. Sorry. So I hope I see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and take care. Bye bye.